Welcome back, Dark Copers, to another chilling episode of Urban Nightmares where we dive into the spine-tingling secrets that make horror films truly terrifying, not just on screen, but behind the scenes as well. Today, we're going deep into the soul-crushing realities that have haunted some of the most famous horror movie sets in history. From mysterious fires to real-life curses, these stories are so unsettling that they might just make you rethink your favorite horror flicks. Get ready to explore the dark side of Hollywood, where the horrors are not just fictional, but very real. The Exorcist, a film cursed from the start. Let's begin with one of the most iconic horror films of all time, The Exorcist, 1973. Directed by William Friedkin, this movie is often cited as one of the scariest films ever made. But the terror didn't stop at the edge of the screen. It extended into the real lives of those involved in the production. From the very start, The Exorcist seemed to be plagued by an eerie curse. During the filming, the set for the McNeil family's home caught fire, destroying most of the interiors and causing significant delays. The cause of the fire was never determined, but many of the cast and crew believed that something otherworldly was at play. What made it even creepier was that the only part of the set that remained untouched was the room where the exorcisms would take place. Imagine showing up to work on a film set only to find it partially destroyed by an unexplainable fire, except for the room where all the demonic scenes were set to be filmed. Coincidence? Maybe, but it was enough to send chills down the spines of everyone involved. The strange occurrences didn't stop there. The actress who played Regan McNeil, Linda Blair, and her mother, portrayed by Ellen Burstyn, both suffered serious injuries during filming. In one scene, Burstyn was yanked violently by a harness, leading to a permanent spinal injury. The screams you hear in that scene are real. They're not just acting. The injuries and accidents on set were so frequent that a Jesuit priest was brought in to bless the set and the cast in hopes of warding off any further misfortunes. But the feeling of dread and the sense of a curse hanging over the production never fully lifted. To make matters even more unsettling, several people connected to the film died during its production and after its release. Jack McGowran, who played Burke Dennings, and Vasiliki Maliaros, who played Father Karras's mother, both died before the film was released. Actors and crew members reported strange, almost supernatural experiences during filming, adding to the legend that The Exorcist was a cursed production. Poltergeist, the real horror, was behind the scenes. Next, we turn to Poltergeist, 1982, another horror classic with a notoriously troubled production. Directed by Tobe Hooper and produced by Steven Spielberg, this film is famous for its terrifying portrayal of a family haunted by malevolent spirits. But what many people don't know is that the true horror wasn't what was happening on screen. It was what was happening off-screen. One of the most shocking revelations about Poltergeist is that real human skeletons were used during the filming of the iconic pool scene. Jo Beth Williams, who played the mother in the film, revealed years later that she was unaware that the skeletons in the muddy pool were real until after the scene was shot. The production team decided to use real skeletons because they were cheaper than creating fake ones. The use of real skeletons is believed by some to have brought a curse upon the set. This so-called poltergeist curse is linked to the untimely deaths of several cast members. Dominique Dunne, who played the oldest daughter Dana, was tragically murdered by her ex-boyfriend shortly after the film was released. Heather O'Rourke, who portrayed the young Carol Ann, died at the age of 12 due to complications from a misdiagnosed intestinal issue. These deaths, among others, have led to widespread speculation that the film was cursed. Adding to the eerie atmosphere, many cast and crew members reported strange occurrences on set, including objects moving on their own and unexplained technical malfunctions. Zelda Rubinstein, who played the medium Tangina, claimed she had a vision of her dog dying while on set. Shortly after, she received a call that her dog had indeed died. The haunting reality of Poltergeist is that the terror was not just make-believe. It was something that affected the lives of those involved in a profound and disturbing way. Whether you believe in curses or not, there's no denying that the string of tragedies associated with this film is more than just a series of unfortunate coincidences. The Omen, a series of unfortunate events. The Omen, 1976, is another film shrouded in mystery and dark occurrences. Directed by Richard Donner, the film tells the story of a young boy named Damien, who is revealed to be the Antichrist. The film is terrifying enough on its own, but the events that occurred during and after its production are the stuff of nightmares. The strange events began even before filming started. Gregory Peck, who played the lead role, and screenwriter David Seltzer both had their planes struck by lightning on separate occasions. While this could be dismissed as a freak accident, it certainly set the tone for what was to come. During filming, a number of accidents and incidents occurred that seemed almost too bizarre to be mere coincidence. A plane that was originally chartered by the production team ended up being used for another flight and crashed, killing everyone on board. The crew narrowly avoided disaster when a hotel they were staying in was bombed by the IRA. One of the most chilling incidents involved special effects artist John Richardson, who was responsible for designing the film's gruesome death scenes. Shortly after the film's release, Richardson and his assistant were involved in a car crash. While Richardson survived, his assistant was decapitated in a manner eerily similar to one of the death scenes in The Omen. To add to the horror, the crash occurred near a road sign that read Omen, a town in the Netherlands, and the distance to the town was 66.6 kilometers. It's hard not to see the parallels between this real-life tragedy and the dark themes of the film. The unsettling series of events surrounding The Omen have led many to believe that the film was cursed. Whether it was a result of the film's dark subject matter or simply a series of incredibly unfortunate events, the legacy of The Omen is one that continues to haunt those who were involved. Rosemary's Baby, The Curse of the Devil's Child. Rosemary's Baby, 1968, directed by Roman Polanski, is another film that has been associated with real-life horrors. The film, which tells the story of a young woman who becomes pregnant with the devil's child, is considered a masterpiece of horror. But the real-life events surrounding the film are just as terrifying as anything depicted on screen. One of the most infamous events associated with Rosemary's Baby is the murder of Polanski's wife, actress Sharon Tate. Just over a year after the film's release, Tate, who was 8 months pregnant, was brutally murdered by members of the Manson family. The shocking nature of the crime and its connection to the film led many to believe that Rosemary's Baby was cursed. But the curse didn't end with Tate's murder. The film's composer, Christoph Kamada, died in a freak accident shortly after the film's release. Producer William Castle, who was instrumental in getting the film made, suffered a series of health problems and was haunted by visions of scenes from the film during his recovery. Even the Dakota, the apartment building where much of the film was shot, has a dark history. It was later the site of John Lennon's assassination, adding to its reputation as a place of ill omen. The atmosphere of dread that permeated the set of Rosemary's Baby has been attributed by some to the dark themes of the film itself. Whether or not you believe in curses, there's no denying that the tragedies surrounding this film are deeply unsettling. The Conjuring. When horror movies imitate life, the Conjuring series, based on the real-life investigations of paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren, has become a modern horror classic. But the line between fiction and reality has always been blurred when it comes to these films, and the production of these movies has been no exception. The first film, The Conjuring, 2013, directed by James Wan, was inspired by the haunting of the Perron family in Rhode Island. During the filming, strange occurrences were reported by the cast and crew. Vera Farmiga, who portrayed Lorraine Warren, experienced a series of unsettling events, including mysterious claw marks appearing on her computer screen and strange sounds in her hotel room. She also refused to take the script home with her, fearing that the dark energy from the story would follow her. Joey King, who played one of the Perron children, experienced unexplained bruises on her body during filming. despite not performing any stunts or physical scenes that could have caused them. The director himself reported strange noises on set and a feeling of unease that permeated the production. The real Perron family also reported experiencing increased paranormal activity in their home after visiting the set. They claimed that the spirits in their home became more active, almost as if they were angry about the film being made. In a particularly eerie twist, the house that inspired the film was struck by a freak fire during the movie's release, leading many to believe that the spirits were expressing their displeasure. The owners of the real-life house reported that the fire started under mysterious circumstances and nearly destroyed the entire building. Fortunately, the fire was extinguished before it could cause major damage, but the incident left everyone shaken. As if the on-set experiences weren't disturbing enough, The Conjuring 2, 2016, also had its share of eerie happenings. During the filming, actor Patrick Wilson, who plays Ed Warren, claimed to have heard strange noises in his hotel room at night, and the cast and crew reported feeling an overwhelming sense of dread while shooting certain scenes. One of the most terrifying moments occurred when the real Lorraine Warren visited the set. She reportedly felt the presence of something dark and malevolent, which she believed to be connected to the story being told in the film. Her visit was cut short, as she felt that staying on set was too dangerous. These unsettling occurrences have led many to speculate that the Conjuring series might be cursed, or at the very least, that the dark subject matter is attracting negative energy. Whether you believe in the supernatural or not, the stories surrounding these films are enough to make anyone think twice about what's really going on behind the scenes. The Shining. Kubrick's descent into madness. The Shining, 1980, directed by Stanley Kubrick and based on Stephen King's novel, is another horror film with a dark and twisted behind-the-scenes story. While the film itself is a masterpiece of psychological horror, the production was marked by tension, fear, and a sense of impending doom. Kubrick was known for being a perfectionist, and his obsessive attention to detail pushed the cast and crew to their limits. The most infamous example is the treatment of actress Shelley Duvall, who played Wendy Torrance. Kubrick subjected Duvall to relentless emotional and psychological stress, reportedly making her perform the iconic baseball bat scene 127 times. Duvall's performance in the film is harrowing, and it's clear that much of the fear and exhaustion you see on screen is real. The atmosphere on set was tense and oppressive, with many cast members reporting that they felt as if they were losing their grip on reality. Jack Nicholson, who played Jack Torrance, later described the shoot as one of the most challenging experiences of his career, citing the intense atmosphere and Kubrick's demanding nature. But the strange occurrences didn't stop at the actors' experiences. The set of the Overlook Hotel was also home to a number of unexplainable events. Crew members reported seeing strange shadows and hearing eerie noises while filming. Some even claimed that the hotel's layout seemed to change overnight, with hallways and rooms appearing in places they hadn't been the day before. Kubrick himself was said to have become increasingly paranoid during the production, convinced that something was wrong with the set. Whether it was the isolation of the remote filming location, the intense subject matter, or something more sinister, The Shining left a lasting impact on everyone involved. The thin line between fiction and reality. So, Dark Copers, what do we make of these stories? Are these just coincidences, the result of working on films that delve into dark and disturbing themes? Or is there something more to it? Something that blurs the line between fiction and reality? The idea that these films could be cursed, or that the very act of creating horror could attract negative energy, is a chilling thought, one that adds a new layer of fear to movies that are already terrifying. The soul-crushing secrets of these horror movie sets serve as a reminder that sometimes the scariest stories aren't the ones we see on screen. They're the ones that happen behind the scenes. The actors, directors, and crew members who work on these films often find themselves dealing with more than just make-believe monsters. They're confronting the unknown, the unexplainable, and sometimes the genuinely terrifying. As fans of horror, we're drawn to these films because they allow us to explore our deepest fears in a safe environment. But what happens when the horror spills over into real life? The stories we've explored today suggest that the line between fiction and reality is much thinner than we might like to believe. So the next time you sit down to watch one of these classic horror films, remember the soul-crushing secrets that lie behind the camera. The screams you hear might be more real than you think, and the fear you feel might be echoed by those who lived through the making of these films. Until next time, Dark Copers, stay vigilant, because you never know when the nightmare might become reality.